Good afternoon to all IEM and EVM family members. Actually, today Dr. Prashant Ranjan will be continuing with his presentation. If you remember, last Monday he presented, but then because we had a foreign lecture, so he had to stop midway. Today he will continue from where he had left, maybe a 1 or 2 minutes overview of what he said last day, and then he will continue with his talk. He is very much present, but the problem is there is some small technical glitch for which his webcam is not coming, so you cannot see him, but definitely you can see the presentation on screen. So Dr. Prashant, I will request you to kindly take over from here. Dr. Prashant, he is from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering of EVM Jaipur. I will request you to take over from here and continue with the presentation.
Okay, sir, thank you. Okay, so first of all, good afternoon all IEM UEM family members. So in last lecture, I have just show what are the introduction part of ultra wideband and filtering antenna and how we control the band noise by using the stub. So I'm just moving to the our this part, this proposed work part here. So I have proposed two work directly here from work 1, which in this work I have designed a ultra wideband filter which has some notch band, controllable notch band. By using stub we can control the notch band, and the shape of the resonator is T shape. So this is the first proposed work, and in second proposed work I have designed a ultra wideband filtering antenna. Okay, so which also has a controllable notch band. So I am directly discuss this part. So I'm moving to the proposed work 1 right directly. I skip these things. So yes, so this is the proposed work 1. As the name suggests here, ultra wideband filter with controllable notch band and higher stop band transmission geo using open stub in inverted T-shaped resonator. So this is a filter, microstrip filter, which I have designed here, and it has the ultra wideband property as well as a notch band at some frequency, which is decided by me only. So this figure A shows the design structure of the filter, and figure B shows the fabricated view of our proposed ultra wideband filter. So you can see here that there is two stubs, the dimension L and dimension M. Both are the stub. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So there are 4 stubs are presented. So this is the dimension part of our proposed filter. In this filter designing, I have used the substrate material like Rogers 4350. And it has the dielectric constant of 3.38 and tangent loss of 0.0037, and height of the substrate is 1.524 mm, and the overall size of this filter is 25 mm cross 16 mm. Now this is the design analysis part of our proposed filter. So in figure A, it is a inverted T-shaped MMR. So in this figure, you can say that it is symmetrical around A and A dash. So due to this symmetrical region, we can analyze this structure by using even and odd mode analysis. So in case of even mode analysis, in this, see this figure B, the one end of this structure is open circuited. Why open circuited? Because we can see that for symmetrical structure, the zero current flows through this symmetrical plane. So that's why in case of even mode analysis, we choose here open circuited. And in third part, the third part is the odd mode network analysis. So in this case, we are one end of this structure is short circuited. Why short circuited? Because zero voltage is obtained in the middle part of the resonator. So that's why here it is short circuited. So we can analyze by using even mode analysis and odd mode analysis. So there are two steps, step 1 and step 2. So these steps are very important for controlling the notch band. So here this is a results and discussion part. So this is a S21 parameter. So y-axis shows the S21 parameter with respect to the frequency in x-axis. So we are choosing the weak coupling as well as strong coupling. So you can see properly here, when the gap of this W6 between MMR and the intercoupled resonator here is this gap is if large, then it is weakly coupled. If this gap is very small, then it is strongly coupled. So these things are happen here. Weak coupling, when W6 is equal to 6.5, it means the gap between resonator and the intercoupled line. So this line shows the red line here. So we can see that there are different modes are created. Mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4, and some transmission zeros are also created. This is the transmission zero. This is also a transmission zero here, and one transmission zero is also here. So transmission zero frequency decides that at that frequency the transmission of signal from input to output is stopped. So that's why its name is transmission zeros. And the more different modes creates the ultra wideband, because at strong coupling, when we use the strong coupling, these modes are combined, and after combination it creates a ultra wideband. That's why its name is multiple mode resonator. So we can see here properly the frequency versus the dimension gap of W6, which I have varied. So at we can see that at the gap is increasing, the even mode frequencies also changes, odd mode frequencies also changes. So we can say, but first odd mode frequency here, it is not changing. Now another result I have taken here, and there is a frequency notch band frequency equation which I have analyzed by using the even and odd mode analysis. So by using this analysis, we can find this notch band frequency, which is equal to C upon 5L plus M root under epsilon effective. So here L is the length of the stub 1 and M is the stub length of the stub M. So we can see that by using length of stub, both the stubs, we can properly choose the notch band frequency. So here the length of the stub 1 like L is varies, but M is fixed. So we can see that the lower cutoff transmission zero is fixed. It is not changing when we are changing the L, but notch band frequencies changes. So here we can see that the notch band frequency is changing, but as well as this upper cutoff transmission zero is also changing, but upper stop band level you can see here between minus 10 dB level. So upper stop band level is also not changing. So by using L we can choose properly so that the notch band frequency is moving. Another result I have taken here, the frequency versus the length of L and M is fixed at 3 mm. So we can clearly observe that the notch band frequency is decreasing when we are increasing the length of L. But the transmission zero of lower transmission zero FTZ L is fixed, whereas FTZ H is slightly decreasing. Now the upper cutoff transmission zero control. in this figure we can see that the upper cutoff transmission zero here, it is varies very large with respect to the changing the value of M. So as M is increasing, the upper cutoff transmission zero is also changing, and the stop band, upper stop band level is also increasing. So we can choose the value of L and M properly according to our application. So we can decide it and choose properly so that we can create a notch band as well as upper stop band level. So upper stop band level improved and gives better band rejection at upper cutoff frequency of ultra wideband. So here in this figure we can clearly observe that the transmission zero at higher frequency band FTZH, it is varies very large with respect to the changing the value of M, and all others are not changing. So we can say that the value of L and M is used to control the notch band frequency as well as upper frequency transmission zero frequency. Now finally I have chosen the value of L and M and find the result of the S parameter. So here we can say S11 versus S21, graph in Y axis and the frequency is in X axis. So S11 is this red color shows the measured S11, measured part of the S11, and black line shows the simulated part of S11. So I have simulated in HFSS, high frequency structure simulator software. So this graph is happened. So here we can clearly observe that the band is ultra wide band here from 3.1 to 10.6 gigahertz, but in between that there is a notch band at 5.9 gigahertz. The center frequency of notch band is at 5.9 gigahertz. So the first band is from 3.14 gigahertz to the 5.68 gigahertz, and the second band is from 7.05 gigahertz to the 11.01 gigahertz with insertion loss of 1.25 dB. So here the second band has a little bit more insertion loss in comparison to the first one. So this is the comparison table which I have made. So my work is T-shaped MMR with open loop stubs. So the stop band level is more than minus 222, and other one have below minus 10, below minus 15, below minus 20. So the selectivity is our filter has the good selectivity with a notch band control. So this is the our advantage of this filter. Now I am moving to the second proposed work. So our second proposed work is design an antenna, ultra wideband antenna, which have filtering characteristics as well as a notch band at 5.9 gigahertz. So this is the our goal for second proposed work. So second proposed work I have divided in two parts. In first part I have I have proposed a ultra wideband patch antenna only without using the filter, and this this antenna I have integrated the proposed filter, so we can create a filtering antenna. So this is the design structure of our proposed ultra wideband antenna. So this is a ultra wideband antenna without using the filter. So this is the figure A shows the top view of this antenna, and figure B shows the bottom view of ultra wideband antenna. And this is the design specifications of this ultra wideband antenna. So the overall size of this antenna is 30 cross 25 cross 1.524, and the material which I have used for designing this antenna is same as I have used for filter. So Rogers 4350 having the dielectric constant of 3.38 and tangent loss of 0.0037, and the height of the substrate is 1.524. So same material I have used, which I have used for designing the filter. So this is the hardware design which I have proposed. The figure A shows the top view of the antenna, and figure B shows the bottom view of antenna. So in this antenna I have not attached the filter. This is only a simple ultra wideband antenna. So I'm moving to the result part of this antenna. So this is the S11 parameters of this ultra wideband antenna. So we can clearly see that this antenna is not bounded between 3.1 to 10.6 gigahertz. According to the FCC rules, the ultra wideband have the frequency band up to 3.1 gigahertz to the 10.6 gigahertz. But here it is more than 14 gigahertz. So it is not bounded. That's why we are using the filter for bounding this signal. So in this figure, the red line shows the simulated value, and the black line shows the measured value. Here the current distribution of this ultra wideband antenna is showing here for different frequency. So we can see that when we are moving to the higher frequency, the current distribution means that the surface current density is more. So we can say that this creates the higher frequency bands. So we can here observe that the red line shows the high current density. Now this is the radiation pattern of this ultra wideband antenna. So for different frequency, so we can see that at the frequency 3.5 gigahertz, so figure A shows the E-plane radiation pattern. This is a dumbbell shape of this figure. And when I move to this figure E at 8.5 gigahertz, so at this frequency it is also looks like a dumbbell shape, and this is a E-plane. Now this filter which I have proposed in proposed work 1, this filter is integrated in our ultra wideband antenna. So here this filter is integrated in the feeding position of this previous proposed ultra wideband antenna without changing the dimensions of the ultra wideband antenna. So this is the design structure of the upper plane. Figure A shows the upper plane and figure B shows the ground plane. And this is the fabricated view of the proposed filtering antenna. So here figure A is the upper part and figure B shows the bottom view of the proposed filtering antenna. So this is the integrated filtering antenna. IFA shows the integrated filtering antenna. So it has the filtering property as well as the radiating property both. In addition to that, there is a controllable notch band also. So this is the design parameters of our filtering antenna. So ultra wideband filtering antenna. So here you can see that I have used the same proper material, substrate material, which I have designed previously. So it is Rogers 4350 and the same dielectric constant 3.38 and loss tangent it is 0.0037 and the height of the substrate is 1.524. So overall size of the antenna is same as in case of ultra wideband antenna. So it is 30 cross 25 cross 1.524. So without changing the dimension, I have designed the filtering antenna. So in results and discussion parts, this is a current distribution. So we can see that at frequency 8.5, the current density is higher, but when are moving to the more frequency, more at least 10.5, So we can say that current density is decreasing now. So by using the filter, we can bounded the signal at the at our requirement. Now this is the S11 parameters of simulated and measured graph. Both are simultaneously presented here with respect to the frequency in x-axis. So we can see that here the signal is bounded between 3.1 to the 10.6 gigahertz. Sorry, yes, signal is bounded between 3.1 to 10.6 gigahertz and having a controllable notch span which is centered at 5.9 gigahertz. So notch span range is from 5.6 to 2 gigahertz to the 7.09 gigahertz. So this is the S11 parameters. Now we can compare this result of filtering antenna with respect to the simple antenna which have not the filter included. So we can clearly see that the filtering antenna have the bounded the band from 3.1 to 10.6 gigahertz. Now this is the radiation pattern of our filtering antenna. So at different frequency, I have selected the radiation pattern. This is a simulated as well as measured graph. Now this is a in this part I have taken the integrated filtering antenna and gain of the antenna for filtering antenna and simple antenna without using the filter. So figure A shows the gain of the ultra wideband antenna only. In this figure, filter is not used. So we can say the gain are almost find everywhere from 3 gigahertz, around 3 gigahertz to more than 13 gigahertz. But in case of filtering antenna, it is minimum at the notch frequency. Minimum as the notch frequency as well as out of band rejection is also possible. So out of band the gain is very small, or you can say it is negligible. So this is the advantage of our filtering antenna, that out of band gain rejection is also possible. In figure C, the measured gain of ultra wideband antenna only and the integrated filter antenna is presented here. So we can verify that the gain is reduced at the notch band in case of filtering antenna, and at stop band, upper stop band also the gain is reduced. So the gain of the proposed integrated filtering antenna varies from 3.58 to 6.8 dBi, and the peak gain is 6.8 dBi. Now I am moving to the conclusion part. So I have proposed an ultra wideband notch band filter, and then I have proposed an ultra wideband antenna without filter. It is designed, simulated and fabricated, and in next step I have integrated the filter with respect to the ultra wideband antenna to make it filtering antenna, and this antenna is designed, simulated and fabricated. So a compact and very simple ultra wideband filtering antenna with controllable notch band is proposed here. The filtering antenna features a notch band from 5.74 gigahertz to 6.98 gigahertz, and peak gain of our proposed integrated filtering antenna is varying from 3.58 to 6.8 dBi, and also achieved out of band gain reduction, and which is very suitable for ultra wideband wireless communication systems. So there is some future scope in this antenna, like we want to make this controllable notch band physically. Now it is physically control the filtering notch band, but if we use a pin diode, so we can change by using the voltage. This is the future scope of this work. And also a filtering antenna array is to be designed for ultra-wideband wireless communication system. Now there are some references which I have used here. So I request VC sir to the time for poll.
So I will do that. I will launch the poll. It is launched. Members may vote.
Okay, sir.
Voting continues. Okay, so we have already reached 50% votes today, quite faster than previous week. So it's around 52%. Maybe we have got little time. We have only given 40 seconds. If we give 1 minute time, I might reach 55, 56%. So I'm waiting for just 9 more seconds. Okay, so it's time to close the polls. We have reached 57% votes. I'm sharing this result, and you can see the result. 30% strongly agrees, 66% agrees, 3% cannot say, and nobody disagrees. So your comments, Dr. Prashant?
Yes, sir. I'm not showing the poll actually.
Okay, you are unable to see the poll. Okay, 66% agrees with you. 30% strongly agrees with you. So 66% agrees, and there is nobody disagrees.
Okay. Okay,
So
sir.
any
So
comments?
by filtering antenna, so we can filter properly, as well as out of band gain rejection is also possible by using the filtering antenna.
Okay. So I have so again we can check the questions now if there is any. Okay, there is one question I can see from Dr. Arnab Ghosh, and he says the T-shaped MMR shows minimum transmission at specific microwave frequencies. Therefore, can it be used in microwave absorber applications?
No, sir. T-shaped actually I have taken here for properly matching this network. That's why I have using the T-shape. It can maybe another shape also.
Okay, so
but I have chosen the T-shape one.
okay, so Dr. Arnab Ghosh, do you agree? Do you get it? If needed, I can also unmute you. Okay. So is there any other question? Then I can close. Okay. So I don't find any other question. So we can close it. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant.